On this episode of Breakfast Talk, we talk NFTs and the gaming world colliding. We have more of our Godzilla, Kaiju, Titan, King Kong, awesome badass monster talk, and basically predictions for the movie. And then we talk about Marvel Comics leaning away from Diamond, the exodus from Diamond publishers. So catch all of that on this episode of Breakfast Talk.
Breakfast Talk.
Breakfast Talk. Wakey, wakey, smell those eggs and bacon. It's time for Breakfast Talk, a podcast discussing current, independent, and mainstream entertainment topics from gaming and movies to comics. Start your week off right with the Breakfast Boys. As always, if you can smell what we're cooking, click that like button. And if your tummies are rumbling for more, click subscribe and ring that brekkie bell to turn on all notifications. All right, let's talk.
Rumble.
Yeah. Breakfast Talk, episode 7.
Breakfast Talk.
Breakfast Talk. That one was powerful because I feel like we haven't been as powerful with the Breakfast Talk like shouts lately. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just me. Yeah.
Greg was up later, so I had time to get 2 cups of coffee.
Oof. There we go.
People are tired most of the time, so.
Fatigue, life, adulting, old people.
Breakfast Talk.
Yeah, that's perfect timing, actually.
The last episode that I did, that you can, click the thing above, you can watch that and watch me be awkward for like 17 minutes.
We're going to call that the awkward cut. That's what we're going to call that. But it was beautiful. It was like so awkward that it became likable. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like the first season of The Office. It's like so awkward it becomes likable towards the end. Perfect. No changes, no edits. One take.
Only takes one take.
Woo.
So anyways, today on Breakfast Talk, we're going to talk about something that's been spreading all over the place, which is NFTs or non-fungible tokens. And something super interesting is how this has been getting brought into a bunch of different fields. It started off in the graphic design world, the GIF world, and the meme world. That's kind of where it took over. I don't remember how much it sold for, but the neon cat, the Pop-Tart cat with the rainbow coming out of it, sold for like a stupid amount of money. What was the price? Oh, was that $590,000 US? Yeah. So it sold for a stupid amount of money. And basically, for anyone who doesn't know what an NFT is, it's based on the blockchain like all the cryptocurrencies, but it's essentially a token that proves you own something digital, because digital things can be copied infinite number of times. So this token just proves that you own it. Outside of that, it's worthless. So it's one of those things that people right now, like the NBA got involved. Now they got these little highlight reels that are like these little animated things that
basically like basketball cards.
Yeah, and they're like basketball cards, but you can prove you own them. They serialize them, so like you've got number 1, or this one's number 121. So like different numbers are worth more money. Some people are making a killing on it, but the idea is that essentially it's utilizing the blockchain to clarify who owns what digital product, and now you can sell the ownership of it, which is interesting. Because typically it's like you made a meme, you're the owner, but everyone has it now. You don't there's nothing special about the fact that you created it other than you're the creator. But now you can actually take that ownership of it and profit from it, which is kind of cool. And so the reason I'm bringing that up is because apparently Ubisoft has been kind of going down this route with gaming, getting in the blockchain for gaming. And now NFTs might be becoming a part of the gaming community. And the reason why I think this is interesting is because one of the things that I heard you can do with an NFT is, let's say I make a piece of art, I can tag it with an NFT, and then I can actually sell it to someone, and every sale that happens after that, I can get a percentage of it. So it's super interesting because when it comes to gaming, most games now are doing like, hey, the game is free, and then you pay for like almost artwork in the game, like
skins.
The custom wheels or decals, Rocket League, the guns in Call of Duty. So these are all things that, Fortnite's huge with that, the dancing emotes, right? So now you could technically own that digital property and keep selling it on all these platforms rather than having to like copyright it and get all these licensing agreements, you can get an NFT created for it, and then start selling that and having it attached that way. And it's also interesting because I think in the future that'll be something that we can use for tracking ownership. If somebody's like, hey, this person stole my art, and they're like, how can you prove this is yours? You both have one from roughly the same time. You don't have the original copy anymore. Doesn't matter. You have this NFT. So the fact that they're bringing that into the gaming realm is super interesting, because I don't know how it can be directly applied to, say, games, other than potentially licensing your games out to consoles or platforms, such as I know Google was doing their, was it the cloud gaming, right? You don't have to have a console, you can have a computer, your phone, doesn't matter, you stream to their servers and you play the games right off their servers. So it's possible that in the future you could make a video game, attach an NFT to it, and then that allows you to license it out to other companies. And the cool thing is that they utilize the cryptocurrency Ethereum, which is the cryptocurrency that has a contract attached to it, where essentially if the money never goes over, then the digital transfer never goes over. So it can be set up in a system where you're like, hey, you have to give me crypto to buy this, and if you never receive the crypto, they never receive the digital property. So there's no way to actually steal it. So that's actually super interesting. But yeah, so, and like I said, Ubisoft was apparently playing with this a few years ago. I think it was 2018, where they had created a game that was similar to Minecraft, that like you'd have a randomly generated world on your own computer, then you could reshape it and create like whatever type of world you wanted, and now you could upload that to the blockchain, and now you have your own unique game. So it's super interesting. I can't wait to see like where the NFT goes. There's actually some stuff I'm looking into personally around it, so definitely something exciting.
Yeah, it's something that I kind of recently fell into because of the art side. Because yeah, it's a great opportunity, I think, to yeah, again, just have this real ownership. And I think it gives artists more power. Like it's kind of like selling it, like being able to put your painting in a gallery, but you don't need anybody to like oversee that and sell it for you. You sell it on your own. It's kind of like you promote it on your own. And then again, like you can sell it once and then sell it multiple times. You get like the highest percentage at first sale, but then after that, you're making like, I think it's 10% on one that's like called super rare, something like that. So you get like 80% the first time and then 10% on every purchase after that. So it's just a cool way for like artists to like put their work out there and then make money substantially like afterwards.
Or the what is it, the mail checks, like the mail money, that's the way you want.
Yeah, so yeah, that's really cool. And then yeah, but there's actually a huge conversation about like just blockchains in general. NFTs I don't think apply too much to this, but it's more or less like the currencies like Ethereum that use blockchain mining or like data mining and stuff like that, and like the whole like environmental impact that that's having, because these data encryptions and stuff like that, they take up a ton of power, like as you're trying to decrypt the currency and mine the currency and stuff like that. So there's like a huge argument there, which NFTs, just anything that's like related gets like blocked in there. So I don't think it's specifically this, but yeah, there's like a whole buzz in the art community about whether you should and shouldn't do NFTs and all that kind of stuff. So it's just an interesting I think it's a good thing, but it's definitely an interesting conversation to have, because you're always going to have both sides of the equation kind of weigh in. And I think it's not something I'm like delving into, but I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to get on super rare, and they have a waiting list, so they're not taking anybody till next year even. So
well, that's the nice thing about NFTs too. It's not like a mining thing. You're created in a moment, and then you utilize that for transactional tracking. Like that's why it's nice. Like it's not like people can mine your thing. Like I guess it could probably be set up that way, but the whole idea is that it's run on the Ethereum blockchain for transactional purposes. So there's already a crypto created for it, and you're not going out and trying to make something that people have to like get involved in. It's like, do you want to own it? Buy it. And it's more like the back end just happens to use blockchain, but the front end could be exactly the same. Maybe they even pay cash. It just transacts over the Ethereum blockchain as opposed to like PayPal.
Yeah.
I honestly, whatever PayPal jumps on that first, where like I spend cash, it turns into Ethereum, sells it to them, and then they can get cash or whatever they want. Maybe they keep the Ethereum. Like that's going to be a huge business.
Yeah, it's a really it's confusing, to a degree, like this digital currency age, but it's also extremely exciting because like it kind of opens up this other realm that like these bigger like kind of conglomerates don't own. You know what I mean? Like this is something that's kind of like a free, like a truly free marketplace. Like there's not like a oil baron that's sitting there like, you know, controlling all the assets, you know what I mean? So or big banks and stuff like that. So it's kind of just an interesting time, I think, for that kind of stuff. The digital age is definitely interesting. But yeah, moving on. So we'll get into film and TV show news. Nothing new with the TV shows, but definitely going super deep into Godzilla because, you know, obviously if you've watched Breakfast Talk, you already know I'm super into it. Dylan's super into it. And Greg is kind of like, we were actually just talking before, and he's going to get into it. We're going to force him into it. And he's probably going to be the anti, like he's gonna be like, yeah, watch these movies and they suck. You know what I mean? So he's going to be that component of our conversations henceforth. So that's cool. That'd be interesting. But anyway, so yeah, Illuminati confirmed. Mechagodzilla is confirmed. The latest trailer shows a foot stamp come down, and you see kind of like the robotic eyeball and stuff like that. So you know it's Mechagodzilla. So he's going to be the third Titan that's like confirmed in the movie because you got Kong and you got Godzilla. And then yeah, so we got Mechagodzilla now, and then there's actually rumors and speculation as to if there's going to be more Titans, as we've talked about before in the past Breakfast Talks. There's actually like 19 different Titans that they've already like created into this universe. Some are from the original monster universe, and then some are new characters, which you probably have seen in King of Monsters. You're like, who the hell are all these different monsters? I don't recognize them, besides maybe like Rodan and Mothra. So yeah, we have speculation that, well, more than likely Rodan will show up because he did survive King of Monsters, so you probably will see it again. Mothra, if you watch the end credits of King of Monsters, there was like an egg that was shown. Now, you would think, oh, this is Mothra's baby, but no, apparently in this universe, like in the original monster universe, it's basically like a clone. So like it's not a child, it's actually Mothra just like reborn essentially. So that's kind of cool. I didn't really know that until I did the research on this specific topic. So that'd be cool. And they did tease that egg, so hopefully like we're gonna get Mothra again, because she just like came and went, you know.
That thing actually makes sense too, because I don't know how much you remember from the old Godzillas, but for every Mothra there's always a set of twins. Yeah, and they can speak to Mothra. There's no humans that can. And like it's interesting too, like it would almost make sense, like they're almost reincarnated over and over again, and so is Mothra. Like it's a cycle that they have to take part in, which is it's
and they already
such a really fascinating world that it's crazy that most people either haven't seen it, like or like they've just seen these old movies, and that I think. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited.
Well, yeah, and just like on your point where you're just talking about, so they already talked about like in this new iteration of the Godzilla franchise or whatever, that their family has all been twins, like the twins that are like current. Well, actually, it's one actress, but they're twins. Like every member of the family, the female has had like a twin, so they could even say like, oh, I had a daughter and daughters, and I had twin daughters, and now we have a new set of twins. To kind of be that reincarnated state of Mothra and stuff like that, which would be interesting. So yeah, that's just kind of cool. But yeah, so the last Titan that was teased, actually in the last trailer that they showed, it was like really like it was like in the right corner, but you see behind Kong when Godzilla first like comes up on him. There's like a spider on the island with him, with Kong, and it's like behind him. So it's kind of like, oh, it's like a Mothra thing. Like, Godzilla and Mothra were like a team, and like this spider and Godzilla, and Kong are kind of a team. It is the Super Titan spider, Kumanga. That's like the original. But there's a little bit of differences. When I did the research, I was like, oh man, like it kind of doesn't look like the same character. So again, we do have like these new set of monsters and then the old set of monsters. How many they're gonna draw from each kind of iteration to put in the movies is kind of up in the air, but it seems like they are relying pretty heavily on those old series monsters, because they have that fandom built up. Like
there's also fanfare. So many, like they don't need to make any more. Like there's some that were only in like one version of Godzilla. Like there's something that I don't know if you remember, but there's like Biolante, and then after, do you remember Biolante, the plant friggin' thing? And then from that, when Godzilla launches that thing into space, that ended up creating Space Godzilla. Like that's a
Oh
whole
yeah,
other
yeah.
thing that like there's so much they could do with this world. Like, dude, if they bring Space Godzilla, I'll lose my freaking mind. But the thing that I'm excited about was when they showed the head of Ghidorah, the idea that I'm hoping that this movie is King Kong and Godzilla fighting. Mecha Godzilla comes in, starts destroying stuff, goes haywire, and then like the two of them maybe have to fight off Mecha Godzilla. And when they destroy that, they're like, "No, robot's not good. We need like a hybrid." And then I want them to make Mecha Ghidorah, and I'll like,
So that's interesting that you say that because there's a huge amount of speculation behind whether Ghidorah will be like there will be a Mecha Ghidorah, but also like because they did show that there's a head left from Ghidorah, so you're like, oh, okay, like they might use him. And then his power was like electrical power, right? So he could just be like they took that carcass and that carcass is powering Mecha Godzilla. So in some way, it is kind of like a Mecha Ghidorah. Like it's kind of maybe they're
because
trying
like
to fuse
the
the
Mecha
two.
Ghidorah, if I remember correctly, it either had one or two
It was
robotic
two,
heads
yeah,
and
two
only
robotic
one
ones.
regular head
Yeah,
because it had its heads taken off.
yeah.
They brought it back to life. So yeah, it would be interesting because I don't remember much about Mecha Godzilla on like how they powered it. I thought it was just a big robot, but if there was something interesting about it, that would be yeah.
I think they're just taking the material as is and trying to mix the two kind of universes, like the old and the new, like again, making new monsters but still keeping the old ones and like, kind of like having them come together and stuff. So yeah, there's a ton of monsters that are still untapped for again from the old universe, and how they bring them into this new iteration and how many movies are they even planning to have in this series. That's kind of
All of
interesting to
them.
me. Well, because you have like, okay, so what it seems like to me is that they're not making like a Godzilla focus continuum. You know what I mean? Like they want to bring King Kong into the mix and have him be like another star of this universe. So like
Yeah,
they can have tangential movies. Like this is a Godzilla movie, this is a Kong movie. They exist in the same universe, but it's like different things going on.
it's so funny because like just like I said with DC, like the fact that if they just did what Marvel did and like did like a Cyborg movie and then a Flash movie and then made a Justice League movie, like I would watch that forever. Like you
Yeah.
could do that. It's the same with Godzilla. They already said like in the first movie, I think it was like 23 markers on the map of different sites that they had.
Mm-hmm.
And I think yeah, the original monsters there's something like 18, maybe 20 monsters. So there's got to be new ones that are on that list. But like they could do it forever. Like I would watch it I would go to theaters and watch it. I'd pay for it on HBO, whatever it is. Like just make like this Godzilla, that King of the Monsters one was so good for like the world, like how it visually looked, how they tracked them, like the story behind how they're awakening, and like all of that stuff was awesome. I want that forever. Like make 20
Oh,
more of these movies.
here's a super interesting thing, like I said, that kind of hints towards like again a collective universe of King Kong and Godzilla kind of like coexisting as like main characters. So apparently the story for King for this new movie, I don't want to spoil it because it's just I've done a lot of research, but their history is basically like they're ancient rivals, and there was an ancient Titan war previous, like way in the past. Obviously they keep talking about it, right? So apparently like yeah, the family of Kong, like how they say, oh, like there was Kongs before him, and like legit they were like way bigger, and whatever. So they basically said, oh yeah, he can grow bigger so that to match Godzilla, right? And if you see the size comparisons like in the trailers, they're pretty much exactly the same size, which I'm like, holy crap, like that's a huge ass monkey. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't that big before. But anyway, so yeah, they're the same size now, and like they have this ancient rivalry. So essentially you can see how this universe, like they don't want to like lose Kong or they don't want to lose Godzilla as like a main character. So you could see them running like parallel movies. And like you said, there's so many different monsters. You could just have them facing off against different monsters, like in their rivalry to like become the king, you know what I mean? And all that kind of stuff. So it's just an interesting take. And I think, with the rise of really good shows like Doom Patrol, even on the DC side, Titans on the DC side, and then you have obviously like Winter Soldier and WandaVision and all those properties coming out of Marvel. You have like this open area where they could just make like a show, like a series, and have like hour-long shows where it's Kong and Godzilla. You know what I mean? And
Do you know a fun random fact? Do you know like what the symbols of Godzilla and King Kong are supposed to represent?
Not at all.
it's supposed to be Japan is Godzilla and King Kong is America, and it's when they didn't like us that much, and the whole idea is Godzilla beats up King Kong. And I think, if I remember correctly, there was another version where King Kong wins, and I think we made it.
Yeah,
so,
like, the American version.
Yeah, but I'm almost certain like that was the original intent behind that thing. So it would be really interesting to keep them both around and like have these like little like battles that happen from time to time. Godzilla protecting the oceans and a bunch of stuff, and King Kong coming to New York City and stealing women. You know.
That's not outdated at all. All right, yeah, that's it. That's all we got. Like, again, a lot of speculation, a lot of cool stuff going around this Godzilla franchise. And obviously me and Dylan are pumped, and Greg has nothing to say because we just went over that at the beginning. And yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and move on to graphic novel and comic book news.
Yeah. So Marvel Comics have moved from Diamond Comic Distributors. Diamond, if you don't know, is like the top tier monopoly thing that runs.
Screw you, Diamond.
Yeah. Yeah. So
you almost killed comics, man. You almost killed comics.
So now Marvel Comics promoted Time Hunter. That's probably not how you say her name, but
probably is.
She's now promoted from the senior sales manager, has promoted to the senior sales manager of Penguin Random House, which is what they're going to go through now instead of Diamond for a good majority of things.
Which is super interesting because something I found out about the ISBNs, like the barcodes you get on books, like comic books don't necessarily get them, but graphic novels will, right? Like, so they'll put them on a graphic novel, but like we looked up like ISBNs for comic books, they don't exist. I'm sure like a couple probably do, but there's not many. So it's interesting that they're going with like an actual book publisher, and I wonder if they're going to start cataloging them with ISBNs because that hasn't happened.
So, yeah, probably.
Yeah, we have to look into like getting our comics in the stores soon. Like I'm going to Lake Placid for my birthday, so like I didn't want to break last week, so I did that solo episode again. You can like watch me be awkward. So I'm going from the 2nd, which is my birthday, to Easter, which is the 4th, and we're gonna have a break next week just because I won't be here. There's Easter, and yeah, we won't be here for that. So it's gonna be a break after this episode, and then we'll come back with episode 8 with whatever. We'll still be talking about probably Godzilla and.
We can talk about Godzilla forever. I'm pretty sure.
The entire year.
Godzilla show. It's not gonna even be a cat. Logo. It's gonna be Godzilla.
Breakfast roar.
Kaiju talk.
Yeah. So that's happening with Marvel Comics, and NFTs and all that good stuff.
So what's like how is that significant? Do you think that this specific person is being now promoted?
Pretty sure it's just because they don't want to use Diamond. So they I don't know. Is
she the one that
most
made
retailers can still use go through Diamond because a lot still do. Like there's this guy that is like an indie comic creator that I know that was going to be on one of our not Breakfast Talk, Sierra Nova podcast, but instead it was his partner Rob Cannon, and he was on, and Kevin Rotelli, or however how you say his name, he's actually like in Diamond. He's not like his he's in previews, that catalog that people can look through and be like, oh, I want this comic in the store. So
yeah,
a lot of people still use Diamond, but like there's other like alternatives like popping up like this.
Oh yeah, I mean the problem with Diamond was they weren't really insulated for what happened. You know what I mean? Like they kind of just said, oh well, we're taking a huge cut because of like Corona and all this, and like if there's not going to be these books like coming out, then we don't have anything to publish, and if we don't have anything to publish, we're not making any money. So like they were expecting like these huge potential losses, and it's kind of like, you know, the small publisher, the smaller publishers were able to kind of like manipulate and move things around a little easier because they weren't set in these huge contracts where essentially they were going to lose millions upon millions of dollars. So yeah, they just weren't really insulated to take that kind of loss, which is kind of funny. You like bigger corporations typically are, you know, can lose more. Yeah. Can lose more money, you know, and survive. But essentially I think that Diamond was like, yeah, no, we're just going to cut our losses and we're going to move on to other stuff that we know we can make money on. And the comic book, and then, you know, if whoever wants to take that section, comic books, like, you know, whatever, like we're still going to be around, you know. So I think they just, it was like a cut their losses kind of situation. I'm not super clear on it though, but yeah, it's good for smaller publishers, like, again, smaller, not like super small, but smaller publishers that weren't, you know, had these kind of contracts before. And I think it would be smart if like comic book companies in general just kind of like spread out maybe their distribution, like their publishing, and like had a couple different companies working at the same time.
I was gonna say, like, that's the thing too. It's like by having all their eggs in one basket, like the reason why a company like Amazon could lose millions of dollars in any one of their 18,000 projects they're working on is because they have 18,000
Exactly.
projects working on.
They're spread wide.
Yeah, like when people are like, oh, like Netflix is clearly better than Amazon kind of thing, like it'll outlast them. It's like, how? Amazon has Amazon, like, you know, they sell shit. Like they could literally lose money on Amazon Prime, the video platform, for like decades and never have an issue. Where like Netflix, as they start getting people pulled from them, they'll slowly dwindle down unless they become competitors.
There's actually not even any way, because like I pay for like my Prime membership and the video comes with it. You know what I mean? It's exactly. Like I'm not even paying specifically for the video stuff. It just comes with it. And I'll definitely watch Amazon. Dude, Invincible. Holy crap. I can't wait to watch Invincible.
Oh, I watched all 3 episodes.
That's the whole idea. That's like the whole idea though with Diamond though, is that basically that's what it was. They're like Netflix in the sense they were cashing in on one stone. Like they need to get more geese laying golden eggs. They only got one goose.
Yeah.
Hopefully in the next episode of Breakfast Talk, we'll talk about Invincible, because it's a really good show. And
dude, I saw one little scene and I was like, oh.
I saw all 3 episodes.
What were you like?
Whoa. That's a screenshot right there.
Yeah, somebody memed that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was Breakfast Talk episode 7.